Everyone. Many students were complaining today about paper 3 Edexcel higher. So I choose some questions, actually, the harder ones, to go over them. Here he says what? AB is the diameter of the circle. He gives you the coordinates. And he say work out the circumference of the circle. The circumference of the circle is pi d. So you need to find the diameter. To find the diameter means you need to find how long is this line. To find how long this line, it's a right angle triangle, so you need to find this side and find this side. This side is the difference between the x coordinates. So if this is 6 here and this is 11, so this side has to be 5, and if the y coordinate here is 3 and the y coordinate here is 15, so this has to be 12. If you go for Pythagoras, to try Pythagoras, 20, you square this one, you square this one, so 12 squared plus 5 squared, then you square root that, we're going to give you 13. So it means the diameter is 13. Sub it here, so it's going to be 13 pi. When you put that on the calculator, so to 3 significant figures, so 13 times shift pi, you get 40.8 to 3 significant figures. Okay. Next one. Here he says find the value of m. Sorry, given the value of m decreased by 40% and the value will be decreased by 50%. So here the multiplier is 1. It's decreased, so it's 0.6. And the multiplier here is 1.5. When you sub them here, you get w equal 0.6 is times m, but then you need to square it over 1.5 p. When you isolate the 0.6 squared and 1.5, you get 0.6 squared over 1.5 times m squared over p. This is what was before already. So from here you can find what happened to the percentage as a percentage decrease. So when you divide that, you get so 0.6 squared divided by 1.5, you're gonna get 0.24 m squared over p. So it happened a decreased here. It was 1 here, so here it was 1 already and becomes that. So 1 take away 0.24, that's 0.76. So it's 76% decrease. Okay. Next one. Okay, here he said by drawing a suitable straight line, so it means straight away go for y equal mx plus c to find what is a suitable straight line. And he actually solved this one and this one simultaneously. So if you write y equal x squared, take away 4x. So when you make them equal to each other, so what do you get? You get x squared minus 4x equal to mx plus c. When you bring everything to one side here to make it look like this one, so let me use a different color to make it easy for you to see. So it's going to be x squared minus 4x minus mx minus c equal to 0. It's supposed to be the same as what? X squared minus 3x minus 2 equal to 0. So when you compare here, this is actually what have x, which is supposed to be the same as that. So you need to make them equal to each other. So if I write here, it's going to be minus 4x minus mx equal to minus 3x. Rearrange this to find m, so cancel all x's. So you get minus 4 minus m equal minus 3. So add 3 to this side and add m to the other side. So m is minus 1. Now you can see here that minus c is the same as minus 2, so c is 2. So my equation going to be y equal minus x add 2. Now I need to plot that to be able to see where the line intersect with the quadratic curve. Minus x means the gradient is negative. I go at the y-intercept, which is 2, and then I go 1 across and 1 down. As you see here, the scale of the drawing is different, so it's going up in ones on the x-axis and 2 on the y-axis. So that's the right drawing. Then you go like that and see where the curve meet with the x-axis, with the quadratic equation, quadratic curve, sorry. And when you drop an arrow here and then drop an arrow here, because the solution is going to be only the x values. As you see here, there is no y in this one, it's only x's. This is going to be roughly minus 0.6, this one here, and this one going to be roughly 3.5. That's the solutions. Okay. How can we do that? I need to write square root of 20 as powers. So I have 1 over square root of 20 is 2 root 5, which is 1 over 2 times 1 over root 5, which is 2 to the power of minus 1 times 1 over root 5. Root 5 itself is 5 to the power of half. So when you put 1 over it, that's going to make it 5 to the power of minus half. So when you compare it to that, it's 2 to the power of minus 1 times 5 to the power of minus a half. Now x is minus 1 and y is minus a half. Okay, I think this is actually, some people find this one a bit hard. Proof algebraically that the product of A and C is always 16 less than the square of B. How can we do that? He say A and B and C are 3 consecutive multiples of 4. So if the first one is 4n, the next one going to be 4 times n add 1. And then the one after that is 4 times n add 2. From here I get 4n add 4. And this is 4n add 8, because they are consecutive, so it has to be n add 1, n add 2. That is A, and that is B, and that is C. He wants here to times A by C. So let's times A by C, which is 4n times 4n add 8, which gives me 16n squared plus 32n. So that's A times C. And then he says what? The square of B. Square of B. So let me square that. So 4n add 4 squared. That's mean the bracket time itself. Which is 16n squared plus 16 and add 16 and add 16. Lots of 16s here. Which is 16n squared plus 32n plus 16. When you compare, you will notice that this one is actually the same as this one apart from 16. So it means the product here is the same as this one, but it's 16 less. So that's true. Yeah. So you have to write that this product of A and C is always 16 less than the square of B. It means square of B is 16 more than, yeah, than the product. Okay. Here he says P is like proportional to A cube. So straight away you say P equal K A cube. I sub the values here to find K. So when P is 13.5, R is N. So 13.5 equal K N cube. So K equal 13.5 over N cube. I'm going to sub it back. So I have P equal 13.5 over N cube R cube. Then he shows that P is 108 when R is that. So you need to sub this one. So I need to replace R with 2N. When you sub it here, what do you get? You get P equal 13.5 over N cube, and bracket, we replace R with 2N, and that's cube. 2N cube, that's actually 8N cube. So if I remove that and put 8N cube, 8N cube times M. The N cube cancel with the N cube if you put that over 1. And 8 times 13.5, which is 108. So P is 108. Okay. And this one, actually, he didn't give you the formula for the cylinder. So you need to actually to find the formula. You need to find the volume of cylinder. Volume of cylinder is pi r squared h. So pi times r is 8 squared times 9. That's going to give me 576 pi. So that's the cylinder. If you look at the formula here, the ratio, you'll find that the volume of the cylinder is 4 times the volume of hemisphere. To find the volume of the hemisphere, we need to divide that by 4. So 576 pi divided by 4, that's supposed to give me 144 pi. That's the volume of the hemisphere. So I need to make that equal to the formula for the volume of the hemisphere. So the volume of the hemisphere is 4/3 pi r cube. That's the volume of the hemisphere, but you need to divide by 2 to get the volume of the hemisphere. That's the volume of the sphere. You divide by 2 to get the volume of the hemisphere, which is make it 2/3 pi r cube. So that's the volume of the hemisphere, the formula for the volume of the hemisphere. And you need to make it equal to that. So if you make it equal to that, 2/3 pi r cube. Now you divide everything by, divide both of them by pi, cancel pi with pi, then times 3 by 144. So I need the space, so let me clear all of that. So we say 144 pi equal to 2/3 pi r cube. So cancel pi with pi, and then times out by 3 and divide by 2. So you get 216 equal r cube. Cube root that, so r is equal to 6. Now I need to find the surface area of the hemisphere. So we have actually two parts here. The first one here is the circle at the top, and then the surface area of the hemisphere itself. So the surface area of the hemisphere is going to be 2 by r squared. You divide this one by 2. Plus the area of the circle at the top, which is pi r squared. That's going to give me 3 pi r cubed. You sub 6 here. We said r is 6 for the hemisphere. So 3 pi times 6 cubed. That's going to give me 3 times 216, which is 648 pi. He wants it in terms of pi, so he can leave it like that. Okay, for this one, you need to find upper and lower bound of each one of these to secure some marks. So the upper and lower bound of this one, so 35 to 2 significant figure, so it's going to be 35.5 and 34.5. This one as well to 2 significant figure going to be 2.35 and 2.25 upper and lower. This one going to be 12.65 and 12.55. Now he wants the lower bound for E. Lower bound for E, it means the lower of this divided by the upper of this. The lower of A, so I need to find the lower of A minus C. Means I need the lower of that and the upper of that. Lower of this and upper of this to find the lower of this calculation. Lower of A is 34.5. Take away upper of C, which is 2.35. And we said we're going to put all of that above above upper of M, which is 12.65. You put that all on your calculator, so 34.5, take away 2.35, all over 12.65. So I got here 2.541501976. He wants that for 3 significant figure, which is going to give me 2.54, the final answer. Okay, for this one, he wants the area of the triangle, and to find the area of the triangle, you need to use half AB sine C. Two sides and the angle between them. I have the two sides, but the angle between them is not given. So I'm going to use sine rule. Sine rule actually will help me find this angle, not this one. But we know angles in triangle add up to 180. If I have these two, I can find this one. So if I go for sine rule, it's going to be 12.4 over sine 130 is the same as 7.8 over sine A. Whatever is angle A, I do cross multiply. I find sine A equal 7.8 times sine 130 all over 12.4. Then I click shift sign to find the angle. So 7.8 times sine 130 all over 12.4, shift sign, I get 28.807, which I'm going to say it's 28.81. I like to keep it like that because I'm going to round at the end. So it's better to keep as many digits as possible. Then I add, so this is 28.81. I'm going to add this to 130, so plus 130. Then take this away from 180. I get 21.19. So this angle is 21.19. I'm going to now use half 14 sorry, 12.4 times 7.8 times sine the angle between them, which is my answer on the calculator, which is this one. So I'm going to say sine the answer times 7.8 times 12.4 times 0.5 or half, which is going to give me 17.48. He wanted to three significant figure, so it's going to be 17.5. So the final answer is 17.5. Okay. Oh, I think this one, some people find it hard, but actually it's not that hard. You're given that n is a point on this line and m is a point on this line and the whole shape is a square, and these are perpendicular. We really need to do that. You can't just be given something in the exam and you don't use it. And the best way to do that is to draw the triangles separately to see clearly what's going on. What triangles I mean here is CMB, sorry, and ANB. So let us draw them here. So I have so that's NAB. Let's do the other one. I'm gonna draw it here. Which is CMB. Let us use algebra here to help us. So we know that this is a square. It means this side supposed to be the same as this side. Okay. So let us call that x and that's x. And I'm going to use the idea of the perpendicular lines here to help me as well. So let me use as well the x axis and the y axis. So if I put the x axis here and the y axis here, this will help us as well. How it will help us? Because I need to use the idea of the gradient. So let's call this one f, for example. Let us call this one as d, for example. Now I need to find the gradient of this one. The gradient of this one is the vertical one divided by the horizontal one. So the gradient of NB equal to x over f. Now let's find the gradient here of CM. So the gradient of CM, let me write it here. Gradient of CM is the vertical divided by the horizontal, which is d over x. These two are perpendicular gradients. It means if you have the negative reciprocal of one of them, you can actually make it equal to the other. So let us use this one to find the negative reciprocal. So it's mean negative x over d, supposed to be the same as x over f. When you do cross multiply here, what do you get? You get negative xf equal xd. Cancel the x's, so d equal negative f. Of course, we're talking here about lenses, so you can ignore the negative, and we say d equal f. What is d and what is f? D is actually bm, which is said here, and f is an. Therefore, we can say that bm equal to an. Here he says the two simultaneous, the two equations here intersects, sorry, the two straight lines intersects at point A. That's mean you need to solve simultaneous equations. So let's solve that. We say y equal 2x minus 2 and 2x at 3y equal 18. We can rearrange here to get rid of one of the letters, but I prefer actually to sub y here to make it easy. So 2x add 3 bracket 2x minus 2 equal 18. Expand, so 2x add 6x minus 6 equal 18. 8x, if you collect like terms, equal to 24, so x is 3. Sub x here to find y, so y equal 2 bracket 3 minus 2, which gives me 4. So now the intersection point is 3, 4, the coordinates of it. If I draw that to help me, so the straight line here, the point on it here, 3 and 4. And he says that the equation, find the equation of the straight line that is perpendicular to M, so, and go through 3 and 4. So if it's, they are perpendicular to each other, and I want the equation of this one, and let us say that's M, which is 2x add 3y equal 18. That means I need to find the gradient of the line M. So I have to make it, I make y the subject. So 3y equal 18 minus 2x. Therefore y equal 6 minus 2/3 of x. So this is the gradient. So the perpendicular gradient is a negative reciprocal, which make it 3 over 2. So that's the gradient of this line. If I already have the gradient and the point, I can find the equation of the line. So if I write here y equal 3 over 2x add c, so I sub 3 and 4, so 4 equal 3 over 2 times 3 add c, so y 4 equal, put this over 1, so it's going to be 9 over 2 plus c, so 4 equal 4.5 at c. Take away 4.5 from both sides, so c equal 0 minus 0.5. Sub it here, so your final equation is y equal 1.5, which is 3 over 2, x minus 0.5. You can times everything by 2 to get rid of the decimal. So if you times everything by 2 here, you get 2y equal 3x minus 1. That's the final equation for this. Okay, I think this is, some people find this one as well hard. But to be honest, if you look here, that's a translation. And moving this to this side doesn't help me. I wanted actually to move it to this side, then I do reflection. When I do reflection, I can get A and B is the same, because you said C is not actually changing. So if I draw it here, so it's actually going to be here. No, not like that. So the best place for it to be here. Then when I reflect it, it's better to reflect it on this y-axis. And if you notice, C gonna be, so when you reflect out, see this is C, let's call it C dash, B dash, and A dash. When you reflect it, C gonna be here, the C1, C dash gonna be here, and B and A will back to its original position. So my triangle gonna be here, where A and B still the same coordinates, and only C is changed. So describe the fully the second transformation. It's actually a reflection in x equals 0. X equals 0 is the y-axis. And k, I actually moved it how many here to the right? 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's actually supposed to be 4, 0. Okay, last question is about probability. So here he didn't tell us how many yellow. So let us say yellow is x and red is 5. He said here probability is that Li will take 2 yellow sweets is 3 over 7. So it's x over the total, which is x at 5 times, because it's yellow yellow. So and because he eat it, so he doesn't put it back. So it's gonna be 1 less over x at 4, which is supposed to be equal to 3 over 7. It's algebraic fractions here, you need to expand. So if you expand that, you get x squared minus x over x squared add 9x add 20 equal to 3 over 7. Do cross multiply here. So 7x squared minus 7x equal to 3x squared plus 27x plus 60. Rearrange everything, so you get 4x squared minus 34x minus 60 equal to 0. Divide everything by 2. When you divide everything by 2, what do you get? You get 2x squared minus 17x minus 30 equal to 0. Factorize, so to get 2x. Of course, you can go for the long factorizing, the hard way. So it's going to be x here, and it's going to be 10 here and 3 here. That's a negative 1, that's a positive 1. X here going to be equal negative 3 over 2. So we say x equal negative 3 over 2. We have to disregard that because it can't be, x cannot be negative. Or x equal 10. So this is how many yellow. Okay, so now we say R is 5, Y is 10. What's the probability of 2 red sweets? So red followed by red, which is 5 over 15 times 4 over 14, because it's going to be 1 less. You can simplify the fractions actually here to make it easy. So that's going to be 1/3, this fraction. And if you divide here by 2, you get 2 over 7, which is 2 over 21. And that's the answers for the hardest questions of Edexcel paper 3 higher 2026.